Hello world, welcome to Sunday evening where I'm going to read you stuff from the Bible and sing a few songs for you. I have named this video tonight, We Don't Understand. And I probably should have named it, I Don't Understand. But surely I know I'm not the only one who doesn't understand things that have occurred in their life and don't understand why God allowed certain things to happen and didn't allow certain things to happen. And I will tell you, I have a very inquiring and analyzing mind that wants to figure things out. I love to figure things out. I love to know why this happened in any area of life, not just I like puzzles. I like figuring out mysteries. I like finding answers. I like finding answers. I don't especially like not finding answers. And the things that happen to us in this world, a lot of times we don't have the answer for why did this happen or why did this not happen. And my brain really hates that. Really hates that. So even though I have a lot of, God gave me a very strong mind that serves me very well, there is parts of it that don't serve me well because it can't stand to not figure things out. So I am going to read this passage from the Bible, and this is about the Last Supper. And the reason I'm reading this, even though that really doesn't have anything to do, the Last Supper doesn't have anything to do with this theme, there is one part in here that does. And I happened to see this verse all by itself somewhere and thought, oh, I didn't realize that said that in the Bible. Why didn't I not know that said that in the Bible? Well, it's because it's all mixed in with the Last Supper and the washing of the feet. And so I think I've zipped past it before, and it really only is specifically talking about one thing. But if you read it by itself, you look at it and you say, oh, okay, I can apply that verse. I can apply that verse to a lot. I kind of like this verse. And I'm going to read the whole thing because I don't think we should always just take a verse out. I think we should read the whole thing. So this is John 13, 1 through 17. Now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come, that he should depart from this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. Isn't that great to know that Jesus loves us to the end? And supper being ended, the devil having already put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going to God, rose from supper and laid aside his garments, took a towel and girded himself. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet. I have fuzz in my, it's all eyelash. I had an eyelash in my mouth. I don't know how that happened. Let's get back to this. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel with which he was girded. Then he came to Simon Peter, and Peter said to him, Lord, are you washing my feet? Lord, are you washing my feet? Jesus answered and said to him, what I am doing you do not understand now, but you will know after this. Peter said to him, you shall never wash my feet. Jesus answered him, if I do not wash you, you have no part with me. And Simon Peter said to him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Jesus said to him, he who is bathed needs only to wash his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not all of you. For he knew who would betray him. Therefore he said, you are not all clean. So when he had washed their feet, taken his garments, and sat down again, he said to them, do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you say, well, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Most assuredly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is he who is sent greater than he who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. I remember when I was young, and teenager and stuff in church. I grew up in a church where we actually had feet washing services. If you've never been a part of that, usually what we do is the women go to one like Sunday school room and the men would go to another Sunday school room, and the women would wash each other's feet and the men would wash each other's feet, and they would have chairs facing each other, and you would sit across from anybody, and you would wash that person's feet and that person would wash your feet. And there wasn't a washing like with soap. We would have a basin of water, and you will put your foot in there and you would just gently put water over their feet. But really what you did is you prayed for the person that God would bless them, that you were washing their feet. And the reason that it was done, and the reason Jesus did it, I believe, was to show that even though he was the leader and he was the Lord, he was saying, if you are a leader, you are really a servant to others. And that's why he washed their feet. He was doing the job of servant and saying, even though I'm your teacher and even though I am your Lord, I am loving you and serving you as if I were a servant. And also, this is what you're to do. When you go to minister to people, you serve them as if you are a servant, and that will make you a real leader. And it was really a neat time. We would sing, and we would usually have good prayer time. It was a great time, and not things a lot of churches, I don't think, do. But we did do it, and it was really a great thing. But in all of that I read, did you pick out the verse that would have caught my attention where I would have titled my video, "We Don't Understand"? I've never caught it before because it's just always applied to washing feet. So it never caught my attention that this is a significant verse. And it's right here where Peter says, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus' answer to him says, "What I am doing, you do not understand now, but you will know after this." And I think if you pull that verse out, I'm not always a good, think it's good to pull verses out and put them by themselves, but this one, knowing what it's the story that it's in, so you know the whole chapters, everything that it's about. Now let's pull it out though and apply it to you and things that have or have not happened in your life. And if Jesus says to you, "What I'm doing, you do not understand now." And I can definitely say, can we type that on me? Like right here, can we type it across my chest right here? What I'm doing in your life, you don't understand. That's like the story of my life. What Jesus is doing, I don't understand. And nor do I like. I hate it. So I'm like, Lord, I don't understand why I have to have a life I hate. And that every moment of it is nothing that makes me happy. But what he said, what I'm doing, you don't understand. But I like the rest of it where he said, "But you will know after this." You don't understand what I'm doing right now, but you will know after this. We may not know right now. We may never know in this life. But at some point, he says you will know. You may not understand what he's doing right now, but you will know. I try valiantly to have this be comforting to me. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like, yeah, you're right, I don't understand, I'm going to know later, and I kind of don't care. I would rather, I don't even want to know now, I want it to just change now. And so sometimes I find that, but I like I said, I valiantly try to find these things comforting. Now it says in Psalm 147:5, "Great is our Lord and abundant in power. His understanding is beyond measure." His understanding is beyond measure. He understands and knows everything. And even though if you're like me and you think everything in your life is the worst possible thing that you would have picked, the worst possible loneliness and emptiness and not really worthlessness, but kind of valueless existence that you feel that you have. You might feel that, but it says his understanding is beyond measure. He knows and understands things that we just can't. And I find that to be very frustrating because I like to understand things. Because if I can understand something, sometimes you can tolerate something more if you understand why. I remember when I was a kid, when I would go to the doctor, and my thing about when I would go to the doctor is, I don't want a shot. I don't want a shot. Don't give me a shot. Please don't give me a shot. And it was horrifying. It was terrifying. And even though Mom would try to explain, I wasn't able to comprehend that so much. But when I got older, I understood why. Okay, it's going to hurt, but it's giving you an antibiotic, or it's giving whatever. It's going to be something that you need, and it would hurt worse without the shot, because if you got the disease or you didn't get better because you had, bronchitis or something. Now, of course, they give pills as well, but that was another thing when I was real little. It doesn't even have to be a shot. When I was real little, and I have no idea why they did this, I think I was about 4 or 5. They gave me penicillin because I think I had strep throat, and it was these little bitty pills They would look like little tiny white footballs. And they were the kind of pills, they weren't chewable. They weren't pills for a little kid like I was. You had to swallow it whole. And I clearly remember this, even though I would know I was not more than 5 because we moved from that house right before I turned 6. So I was either 4 or 5. And I remember Mom saying, you have to swallow the pill and not chew it. I had never done that in my life. I'm like 4 or 5. I never swallowed a pill. And it was a little teeny tiny pill. And even Mom said, I don't know why on earth they gave a baby pills you got to swallow. Well, the only pills I'd ever had was baby aspirin, chewable baby aspirin. And other than that was liquid. And I said, no, Mommy, I want to chew it. Because I was scared. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to choke to death. I've never swallowed something whole. I had never tried. And I said, please let me swallow it. I mean, please let me chew it. Please let me chew it. And she said, no, you can't chew it. You got to swallow. And I cried and cried and cried. And I remember every minute of this. And I think she probably was crying too because she didn't know what to do to help me. And I said, please let me chew it. Please, please, please let me chew it. And she finally said, if you chew it, no matter what it tastes like, because I was sick. I was really sick. No matter, she told me it's going to taste really bad. Really, really bad. And, because they're bitter. Any pill without sugar in it stuff is bitter. She said it's going to taste so bad you are not going to be able to swallow it. But I begged and begged and begged. She told me over and over it's going to taste really bad, really bad. And because I was crying and I wasn't going to try to take the pill, she said, all right, I will let you chew it. But you only have so many antibiotic, and if you waste one, you don't get enough. So she said, I will let you chew it, but you have to promise me, no matter what it tastes like, you will swallow it. And even though I was 4 or 5, I didn't understand how bad a pill could taste. And I was just so scared to swallow it. I was so scared. And she finally relented because I think that, what was she going to do? She couldn't cram it down my throat. I was too little. And so I finally said, I promise, I will swallow it. And it wasn't very big. It really was not. It was like the size of a Tic Tac or maybe thinner. And like you cut a Tic Tac in half lengthwise. It was like that big. And I chewed it. And it was the nastiest tasting stuff I'd ever had. It was like, I think I was probably foaming at the mouth. And she said, you promise you got to swallow it. I did swallow it. I did. And drank about a gallon of 7-Up or something. Which is my favorite drink back then. But I will tell you one thing. I never asked to chew a pill again. I never asked to chew it again. I said, okay, Mommy, give me the pill. I'll try to swallow it. And I actually, like at 4 or 5 years old, learned to swallow pills. I learned to swallow pills because I chewed one. It was penicillin, it wasn't a baby aspirin. But the thing was, I had to take that pill, even though whether I swallowed it and was so scared, or I chewed it and it tasted worse than you possibly imagine. I had to take that pill because I needed it because I had strep throat. And I may not have understood that I had to take something that tasted terrible, or I had to swallow something that I had never done that was scaring me to death at 4 or 5 years old, that I had to swallow as a little penicillin pill. I didn't understand, but Mom did. And this is just like how we are in our life when things come to us that may be bitter and things come to us that are scaring us and are frightening us, and we don't understand why there's this emptiness or this pain in our life. We don't understand it, but God does. And sometimes we are living with things that seem like they're bad, but for some reason, like that bitter pill got rid of my strep throat. But I wasn't really able to understand that totally at 4 or 5 years old. I just thought, can't I just wait and it'll get better by itself? But this is what I feel that we do. Our understanding of why things are in our life and not in our life is not fruitful, but God's is. And then that Psalm 147:5, it says his understanding is beyond measure. Isaiah 40:28 says, have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. We can't even get anywhere near the level of understanding. It says it's unsearchable. So in wondering sometimes why God doesn't just explain things to me, why he doesn't tell me why I go through things I've gone through, maybe I'm not able to comprehend it because his understanding is unsearchable. And I'm going to sing some songs. I'm a little hoarse today. I don't know why. I'm not sick. It's probably the weather. It's my sinuses. I'm a little hoarse today, so I don't know if it's going to be all that excitingly beautiful. But I have 3 songs I wanted to sing, and they're all about my theme tonight that says we don't understand, or that we don't understand things in our life. And there are 3 songs that I found. They're older songs. Let's see. This one is from 1950. The second one is actually from 1905. These are from the hymnal. I like sometimes finding old songs. Sometimes I sing new ones. Last week I sang a brand new one. But these are old hymns. I just love having all kinds of music. And then the last one. Last one I had a hard time finding. And I don't know why. I thought it was an old hymn. And I have several hymnals. I have the one, we had 2 in the church I grew up in. We had one called the Hymns of the Spirit, and then we had one called the Old Redback Hymnal. So they had an older one and a relatively newer one. And then I have some other hymnals that I've gotten there from other churches and stuff and other publishings. And I cannot find that song. And then I said, okay, it's got to be in one of my other songbooks. So I look in my other songbooks. I cannot find that song. And then I thought, okay, well, I'll search it on Google. I still could not find, I can't find the music to this song. I don't get it. Why can't I find, I did find that the Gaither Vocal Band apparently sang this song. I don't know if the Gaithers wrote the song or if they were just singing an old song. Because for some reason I thought it was an old song. So I had to write the music for it to be able to play that third song. But they're all along the same theme. And I pray that these songs will bless you. I don't know about tomorrow. I just live from day to day. I don't borrow from its sunshine, for its skies may turn to gray. I don't worry o'er the future, for I know what Jesus said, and today I'll walk beside him, for he knows what is ahead. Every step is getting brighter as the golden stairs I climb. Every burden's getting brighter. Every cloud is silver line. There the sun is always shining. There no tear will dim the eye. At the ending of the rainbow, where the mountains touch the sky, I don't know about tomorrow. It may bring me poverty, but the one who feeds the sparrow is the one who stands by me. And the path that is my portion may be through the flame or flood, but his presence goes before me, and I'm covered with his blood. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds to Somber skies and howling tempests oft succeeds a bright sunshine. In that land of perfect day, when the mists have rolled away, we will understand it better by and by. We are often destitute of the things that life demands, all the shelter and the food, thirsty hills and barren lands. We are trusting in the Lord, and according to His word, we will understand it better by and by. Temptations, hidden snares often take us unawares, and our hearts are made to bleed for thoughtless word or deed. And we wonder why the test, when we try to do our best, but we'll understand it better by and by. Trials dark on every hand, and we cannot understand all the ways that God would lead us to that blessed promised land. But He guides us with His eye, and we'll follow till we die, and we'll understand it better by and by. By and by, when the morning comes, all the saints of God are gathered home. We'll tell the story how we've overcome, for we'll understand it better by and by. Though shadows deepen and my heart bleeds, I will not question the way He leads. This side of heaven, we know in part. I will not question a broken heart. I'll hide my heartache behind a smile, and wait for reasons till after a while. And though He try me, I know I'll find that all my burdens are silver lined. We'll talk it over in the by and by. We'll talk it over, my Lord and I. I'll ask for reasons, He'll tell me why. When we talk it over in the by and by, we'll talk it over in the by and by. We'll talk it over, my Lord and I. I'll ask for reasons, He'll tell me why. When we talk it over in the by and by. Those are some older songs. You know, that song, it's funny. It always makes me think when it says, I'll ask for reasons, He'll tell me why. It's kind of funny, but it always makes me think of the I Love Lucy show. And I don't know if you probably watched the I Love Lucy show because it's so old and it's played over and over. But where Lucy always gets in trouble, and she always does something, and Ricky comes home and sees a mess or sees whatever happened, and he calls her and says, Lucy, you got some splaining to do. I have long thought, no kidding, I am going to walk through the pearly gates of heaven and say, God, you got some splaining to do. And I have a list right here. I have a list. You got some splaining to do. Luckily for us, I think we'll get that. And hopefully it's going to be worth it to us. Isaiah 55:9 says, this is God speaking, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, Neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. That's why he understands what's going on and we don't. His thoughts are not our thoughts. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Psalm 48:14 says, for this God is our God forever and ever. Boy, that's a great statement right there. This God is our God forever and ever. He will be our guide, even unto death. He is not going to leave us even at the moment of it. It says, you know, what's interesting, he says he's going to be our guide. Our guide. You know, you're not going to die and say, how do I get to heaven? No, he is going to be there to guide us the whole way. He's going to guide us through the gates of prayer, I think. He's our guide. And Deuteronomy 7:9 says, know therefore that the Lord your God is God, the faithful God, who keeps covenant and steadfast love with those who love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. It says he is the faithful God. He's made a covenant with you, a covenant that he is going to bless you, and a covenant that he is going to save you if you've accepted him and asked him to be your savior. He's made a covenant with you. And it says he is faithful and steadfast. His love is steadfast. He will never fail. His love will never fail. And it says, if you love him and keep his commands, he will be faithful to you for 1,000 generations. I think that means it's unending. It is unending. He is faithful, even though we may not understand the things sometimes that go on in our lives or that don't happen in our lives. We don't understand it, but that does not mean God is not faithful, and it does not mean he does not love us. It means our understanding is not his understanding. And to me, that's one of the most frustrating things that I find in my life is that why is this happening? Why is this not happening? Why is my life like this? Why is it not like this? These were not my dreams. These were not my plans. These were not what I feel God promised me. These were not why, and I don't know why, but he knows why. And it says he is faithful and he's keeping his covenant with me. I am loving him and keeping his commandments. Therefore, he will keep his covenant with me and be faithful. And he will do this for you also. He has made it for everyone. It's everyone. It does not matter where you've been or what you've done. He's done it for all. It's for all. So until tomorrow, I pray that you are blessed this week. Whatever you come across this week, when you say, I don't understand, I don't get why this has happened to me, or I don't understand why this didn't happen to me, just know God is not slacking. God is not unfaithful. God is not like saying, oh dear, what happened to her? I didn't know that was going to happen to her. He already knows, and he's got a plan to either get you out of it, or he has a reason for you to go through it. Whatever it is, he has a plan. And sometimes we don't get it. I definitely sometimes don't get it, but he does. And it's not messed up. We might think, oh, but I've made mistakes. I've messed it up. No, he knew that was happening. He knew you would do that. It's not you can't mess it up permanently if you just turn back to him. Even if you feel like, well, God must have had good things for me, but I messed it all up. He knew that though. And he's got a plan for when you say, okay, I'm stepping away from this and I'm turning back to God. He already knew. Good night. He already has a plan for you mess it up, because he knows we mess up. We're human. We're not perfect. And he knew that. So he's already got a fix. He's already got it. You just have to trust him. And until next week was Sunday. I will of course do my makeup tomorrow. But until next week, may you all be blessed. Don't forget that God is always with you. He's just a call away. You don't have to call him to come to you. He's already there. You just have to start talking, and he is there. And may you be blessed abundantly this week. Good night.